Hey, what's up, everybody? Chad Calek here, and welcome back to the In a Crowded Room podcast for a very special episode by request from all of you. First off, once again, I want to thank you guys for all the support with Discovery Plus. You guys are absolutely killing it, and I can't thank you guys enough for that support. And a lot of you guys have been reaching out saying, how's Craig? How's Craig? You know, we would love to hear from him. And look, whenever I get the chance to bring my brother from another mother from down under, whenever I can bring Mr. Powell on, you know, I want to do so. And there's been some weirdness going on. You look, as I told you guys, there's a lot of stuff that's going on that, you know, we don't really want to share right now just because we are documenting it. And some of it's just an uncomfortableness with sharing things. But there has been a lot of weird stuff going on, which, without further ado, Mr. Powell, how are you doing, my friend?
Brother Chad, I'm doing well, my friend. Thanks for having me back on your podcast.
Oh, of course, man. The people have been clamoring to hear from Mr. Powell. And, you know, look, with good reason. Obviously, you know, we've been through a lot. And as people have seen in SIR NOFACE and Two-Faced, and those who have seen Phantom Rider, and, you know, a lot has continued to go on. But I just want to jump right into something that really shocked me a couple days ago. Look, I'm obviously excited for both of us, and especially for you, because I've always felt like the more this story gets out there, not only do I think, you know, you deserve to be commended for the courage and for stepping forward and putting yourself out there like you did. A lot of people would not do that. So it's awesome to me when I see people that are commending you for that. But I've also always felt like the more this story gets out there, it's like a blanket of protection, you know, it's like awareness. It's like people know who you are and they know where you're at. And, you know, that's a good thing. You've been through a lot more than me. And I've admittedly had some weird stuff that shook me to the core. And you've had some stuff that go on that's mind-blowing. So I was excited to reach out to you because I was Instagramming people, just thanking them for supporting us. And I went to tag you, and it said that I couldn't tag you. I started visiting your social media, and I found out that you're deplatformed right now. Correct?
Yeah. Look, I mean, and the excuse they've given on Instagram is because I was spreading misinformation about COVID and the COVID vaccine.
Yeah.
And that kind of happened after I spoke to you the last time we had a chat, and you were asking me about things that were going on down here. And that happened shortly, not long after that. You know, and
hold on, the last conversation we had, the last interview that we did, which you explained to me all the weird stuff that was going on in Australia. Shortly after that, they deplatformed you.
Yeah. Shortly, I don't know the exact date it happened, but I was only made aware, you know, by other people that were trying to tag me and stuff and saying, hey, you know, I can't tag you for whatever. And then I thought, well, maybe for whatever reason I've changed my, you know, security to private and whatever. And I didn't really take much notice of it. And then someone said it was due to misinformation about COVID-19 and the vaccines. Now, look, I can't even do my own channel on YouTube anymore, Chad, because I can't gain access to my YouTube channel. So it's not like I'm posting vlogs every week or twice a week about, you know, COVID-19 or the vaccines. And you know, I've stated it with you the last time that we spoke that I'm a pro-choice kind of guy. If you feel you need to get that vaccine, you get it. By all means, you get it. If you don't want the vaccine, then I personally don't feel you should be forced into it. I don't feel like you should be held to ransom, losing your job, and being segregated from society. I don't think that's right. And that's all I've said. I have spoken up in regards to there were things said about influenza and how influenza has just disappeared because we're all taking better care of our health and washing our hands more and using sanitizer and we're wearing masks. So influenza had just vanished off the face of the earth. And I kind of question that, Chad, because as you know, I now work in a crematorium and my job every day is to cremate the deceased. I see the death certificates. And I have to match up 4 pieces of paperwork in order for me to be able to cremate that deceased person for their family. So I have to have a look at it. And I can tell you now, and I spoke out about it, our government is saying that influenza does not exist. It's gone. And I'm saying, well, that's not true because I've cremated 3 people this week who died from influenza or effects of influenza. And that's, I spoke out once about that because I thought, well, we're just being lied to. And I wasn't deplatformed for that. But it wasn't long after I spoke to you that, I realised when I did your podcast the last time that I have, in fact, been deplatformed somewhat on Instagram.
There's some things about this that, man, they scare, I'll be honest, they scare the shit out of me. One of my first podcasts, Craig, when Alex Jones got deplatformed, it scared the hell out of me. And it's not, look, I'm not some huge Alex Jones fan. I mean, what's odd about Alex Jones is for everything that he's gotten wrong, he's gotten some really crazy stuff right. I mean, he was one of the first guys on the whole Epstein
Absolutely.
thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
overall,
absolutely.
I'm not a fan of Alex Jones because I don't like anybody who kind of fear mongers. You know what I mean? And he just kind of fear mongers.
Yeah.
But what I said when he got deplatformed, I was really bummed out and freaked out because it was the first time in my life that I had seen someone have their voice taken away. And I know the argument is, look, it's not a right to have any of these social media things, but the world has changed. This is how people communicate. This is how people get ideas across. And obviously they knew to take that away from him, they knew it would hurt him, right? They knew that. So I was
exactly. And like we've spoken about before, sorry, Chad, like we've spoken about before, I'm no Alex Jones. And I'm sure as hell know Joe Rogan, making $100 million on Spotify.
I'm definitely getting to that in my point. But my initial thought with that was, look, if there's bad actors out there and there's bad ideas out there, like, that by them speaking. The way to counter things you disagree with is through communication, sharing your counter thoughts. And if the masses are doing that, you'll get to a place where you'll see a decided narrative on whatever the subject matter is. But if you start taking people's voices away, then A, who's making that decision? And what if the tables were turned? What if suddenly someone like Alex Jones was in power and had the right to do that? What would happen? I've just always looked at America, the United States, as one of the things that is fucking awesome about us is everyone can stand up and be counted. Everyone can have a voice. If you have a different opinion, if you have a different belief, like whatever that is, this is the place where you could voice that and feel comfortable, as long as you believe in what you're saying. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean absolute hate speech. Obviously, isn't good, and things that are. But now, when it comes to you, I've spoken to you at length on the podcast and personally in our conversations about the whole COVID thing. And if anybody's listened to my podcast before, when I've brought it up, I've said, listen, I am above all for freedom of choice. And if you, for example, I got the first 2 shots, but I did not get the booster. I didn't get the booster because I'm like, look, man, I've had both shots and I got Delta after I had them. And I got Omicron as well. And I'm just like, I just don't know how many times I want to stick this needle in some foreign object in my body if I can't see any kind of positive results from it? Now, that was my decision, right? I have my own body. I'm an adult. I can decide, what I think is right for me. And I feel that way about anybody. We can't start telling people, what we want them to do, and they have to do it. Like, that's not freedom. So in talking with you, as far as I can remember, your stance was the same thing. You were like, I'm not anti-vax. I'm anti-forcing people to do anything they don't want to do. And the way you said it to me was, right. yeah. The way you said it to me was, look, if you want to go get it, go get it. It's not like when I told you I was vaccinated. It's not like you came down on me. We had no, you were like, cool, whatever. It's good for you. Like, I mean, so that's crazy to me.
Like I said in that podcast last time, Chad, we've never discussed our previous vaccination statuses before this point. I couldn't care less. I couldn't care less what vaccinations you've had as a child. It doesn't worry. I don't care. I still don't care to this point. The thing that upsets me the most through this whole thing is just segregation of people. The way that the governments and the media have just segregated, people. And,
right.
If you're speaking up about pro-choice, now you're an anti-vaxxer. You're one of those dangerous anti-vaxxers. Well, no, I'm not, because I've had all my vaccinations as a child. You know what I mean? It's not that. It's about people losing their jobs, their livelihoods, their houses, their homes. And that's all I ever said on your podcast. That's all I've ever said on my social media. But other than that, I'm always just posting, photos that I've taken of my family, or, cool things that Nick and I are getting up to, camping, exploring, all that type of stuff,
I visited your social media, man. I visited your social media. I never saw a bunch of anti-vax stuff or anything like that. So that was just shocking to me, And I just know you, and I know from our conversations, I know that your stance was, whatever you feel is right for you, you should do, and
exactly. Yeah. And to this day, it's still the same. I'm just a guy. I'm just a dad from Western Sydney, and just living my best life, or trying to go about living my best life. I don't, and you don't even know this, Chad, but I don't own a computer anymore because I'm scared to death of the threats that have been made to me in regards to it. So Jesus. I'm just living a really humble life, and I'm just, trying to provide for my family and just do the things that I love doing. You know what I mean? And that's all. I'm no Alex Jones. I'm no Joe Rogan.
Craig, that's really wild to me. And I texted you that when I first saw it is, look, not to say that you don't have a public profile. Obviously you do. You've been in a number of films, and you did some amazing stuff, and you came forward about a government investigation that was highly controversial, and a lot is going on still with it right now, and a lot of it people don't know yet. You've had, the government's been back in contact with you, which they requested something that blew us away. I mean, it's just the weirdest. There's so much just strange shit in Australia, and the stuff you're dealing with, man. I mean, I wondered about the computer thing because I saw you guys were camping constantly. And I was like, you know what? I feel like Craig's just trying to get out and away from everything,
Yeah, I mean, we love. I mean, you know us. My family, Chad. We love the outdoors. We love being outdoors anyway. So, I mean, any opportunity we can get. But yeah, this whole situation has caused us to want to get away more and just lose ourselves in nature, away from people, away from technology, away from anyone that can find us. You know what I mean? It's just, it's pushed us more that way. The last time the two smiley face men turned up at my home and threatened me, where my cat started having spasms or fits or whatever you want to call it on the ground. they threatened me with things turning up on my computer that shouldn't be there, and that I'd get in lots of trouble for it if I keep going down this road. I got rid of it. I don't want to put myself into a position where, you know, I'm getting myself locked up for whatever reason for things that I haven't done or wouldn't do. You know what I mean?
That's insane, dude. That's wild.
It's just terrifying. And people always ask me, how come you're not doing your podcasts anymore? How come you're not doing your vlogs anymore? You know, we want more content. And believe me, more than anything else in this world, I'd love to. I've got so much that I want to talk about. You know, I moved my family. Nick and I consciously made a decision to move into a haunted house. Consciously made that decision because at the time, during COVID lockdown, you couldn't get out, you couldn't research properly. So we went to them. We moved our house and we went to where the ghosts are. So I've got so much content that I'd love to share with people. Problem is, and you know this, it's hard when you don't have a computer to do it, right? And at this moment...
Dude, that's why I was like, you know, I was so stoked to tag you and be like, dude, like all the hard work, like to get this story out there, it's happening, dude. It's like, it's on fire, man. Like like I've always said, man, I'm a guest in your world. The government didn't choose me to go on this island. I met you and I was in the right place at the right time to be a part of telling what I believe is the most important case in the history of the paranormal field. And I believed in my heart that like people have to hear the story, especially when I spent 2 years trying to find out if you were a lion rat, you know, and then when I concluded, no, man, this dude could not be any more on the level. I mean, I was just, you know, so anxious to get it out, and we brought you over here for the touring, and I felt like it was catching on, but it's really taken off, and it's just so strange. And I understand, I understand what you mean about, because, you know, once you have I'll tell you something that happened to me today, and I had to sit in my car for a few minutes and go, dude, am I losing it? Like, what is going on? I went to the bank today just to handle some business, and I look over, and there's a guy next to me, and he was barking at this teller that basically she wasn't working fast enough for him. But he looks directly at me and goes, God, you got to get some service around here, huh? And he's got an Amun-Ra tattoo below his eye. And I'm like, you know, what are the chances? I mean, I start freaking out. I'm just weirded out. I'm like, why do you look at me? Why has he got that tattoo there? And I start like freaking out. And I like get in the car and I'm just like, you know what? Take a deep breath, man. Am I like, you know, there certainly are things that are happening that are coincidence. But there's been enough that haven't, you know what I mean? There's been enough that there's no way that was coincidence. Dude, this shit will drive you crazy if you let it.
I know.
You know?
Believe me, I know. And it's funny you should mention the Amun-Ra because that keeps popping up more and more in my everyday life. That symbol keeps popping up more and more.
This dude had the same exact... I mean, dude, the tattooed face man's tattoo of Amun-Ra was below his eye on his face. And I was just like, dude, what the fuck? Like, what are the chances of that? Yeah. You know, I just got my shit and bounced, man. I was just like, whoa. Yeah.
Man, I was removing the remains of a deceased person from the cremator last week or the week before. And as I was about to process the bones and turn it into the ashes that the family receive, inside was Amun-Ra medallion. Wow. So it was in the it had survived through the cremator. About, I don't know, 2 months ago, there was a casket that we were putting in the cremator and just all Amun-Ra all over it, you know what I mean? So, again, it's just a little reminder that, you know, there are things that are still happening, you know, and there are things still happening to this day. around
Oh,
here.
with us too. No, there's been some high strangeness lately too. Really weird stuff, man. And the thing is, I started noticing through the process of Phantom Rider, a lot of the stuff that was in the movie. There were definitely things that I didn't share that came out of the movie, but there was a lot of stuff that I did share. So when people saw, they already kind of knew it. But there is also some stuff that that I cut out that you had sent me, and it's just because I wanted to tell it later in Paleface. But I started realizing, man, that look, half the stuff that we were experiencing it felt to me in retrospect, looking back, that half of it was done intentionally to make us look crazy. Because what better way to discredit anything, right, than to have someone come out and say, listen to these stories of these real things that happened, but if you're not there to see it, you know what I mean? If you're not there to experience it, it's really easy to just sound crazy, right? So that was like part of the reason I was like, you know what, I need to just pull back on the sharing everything the second it happens and show it in proper context with the evidence so it can be seen. It's just like, if you get on a radio show where you're talking with me, or even when I was talking with Jimmy Church and I was like, yo, man, there was someone outside Craig's house watching him, man. Like he saw him, he photographed him. Like that's a tale, right? But when you see the photo, and you have your, testimony behind it, it's obviously it becomes real. But in just story format, you can look, crazy. And then when I started looking into that, and there's just a bunch of other cases where people have been visited by officials of some kind, whether it be like the Men in Black or even of different kinds, a lot of it is intentional to make the person not only sound crazy, but question themselves and say, am I going crazy? Like today, when I got in the car, I was like, did I really just see that? Like, and should I go talk to this dude or not? You know what I mean? And it's like, it's type of shit that'll drive you nuts. That's why, like, when COVID was going on, the one good thing about COVID is, look, I took a considerable amount of time away from the computer and everything because Laura had to teach. So she basically commandeered my home studio because that took priority because she had a classroom of kids all day long she had to teach. Sure. So it's not like I can edit over that or do anything. And man, that was, it was the only time where the weird events took a break. And it was just when I was away from it and when I wasn't actively reporting of what's going on. And I noticed that the second I hopped back on and started working on projects and telling people what's going on, weird stuff starts up right away.
It's funny you should mention that because Nick and I knew, right? We just knew that at any moment we were going to get a message from you, right? We just knew we were going to get a message from Chad. And the reason we knew that was because the intensity of high strangeness around here started picking up quite a bit, right? Quite a bit. And it's like, and Nick said to me, she's gone, Chad will get in contact shortly. And sure enough, you did. And you messaged me saying that Two-Face the Grey was trending #1, right? And I said to Nick, I said, look, here it is. Like, here's Chad's message. Have a look at this. And she said, I knew it because the intensity of the high strangeness around here was picking up. So, it's awesome. Like, it's awesome that the films are doing so well and that people are seeing it. But like Nick and I always say as well, for us, we know that as soon as interest is picked up in these films again, we're going to be put under the spotlight from another world. You know what I mean? From somewhere else, and it's happening. It's happening now.
And dude, listen, I totally get that. I was talking to a person online that I've recently befriended from the UK, and he said to me, this has to be really weird for you. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he was like, well, because, you and Craig, have both experienced things that, one could certainly consider threatening. And I said, well, especially Craig. And he goes, but at the same time, you guys worked so hard to get the story out there. He was like, when you have success with it, do you celebrate it? Like, what do you do? And I said, I have to, man. We're going to get the bad no matter what. Like, Jesus Christ, give me some good. Let me know there's a reason that we're all, going through this. And my biggest excitement for it is just that, Craig. Like, to me, the greater the awareness, the greater the safety blanket is the way I look at it. But you are right in the same time. You are right when it kicks back up, all kinds of bizarre stuff kicks back up. And what's really strange is I get messages. I mean, man, I'll screenshot my Yahoo Messenger, my Instagram. Dude, there are just thousands of messages from people that 99% of them are so fucking cool and so supportive. But there's a lot of people that offer, I guess, tips or insights or things they think they know that can connect. And man, I got to tell you, there's some messages I've got recently that are just so incredibly interesting to what we're doing. But I become, like, even when I read it, I'm so nervous to even respond to them because I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't know, is this planted? Is this something to get me? Like I said, this stuff can make, it really can, drive you crazy. But as far as the success of the films, we're not done. And there are people that need to answer for what has been going on with you. There's people within the government that owe you answers. You were thrown into this, man. You were thrown. And look, for what it's worth, so was I. I didn't know where this was going here at all. And if someone would have said to me, hey, in a year from now, you're going to go take, SIR NOFACE across the country, and everyone's going to say, awesome, but that's not a ghost, it's an alien, and then you're going to hear that enough.
Every night. Every night we heard.
Every night. Oh, every night. Dude, from everybody, I mean, like, from media, from fans, from everybody. But if you'd have told me then, and you knew that whole time how nervous I was of going down that road. I was telling you that whole time, like, dude, that's the last fucking thing I want to do. Like, that whole thing just freaks me out. And, dude, it was like trial by fire, just thrown in, just baptized in the world of UFO weirdness. And it's just, so at this point, it's like after having so much negative, listen, man, the one thing I did set out to do when I chose to be a filmmaker, I wanted to take the cameras where they never go. I wanted to tell the stories that don't get told, that need to be told. I wanted to bring people the magic of this world, man. I really wanted to do that. And when we started, digging in this deeper and deeper and deeper, one of the things that the films really do prove and show is that there is something afoot. There is a greater power that's involved in this world. There is a group of people that run shit, and that's just mind-boggling to me, that's actually all, real. So after going through all of it, and to see people support us, that is heartwarming to me. And that is what I'm celebrating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I'm celebrating.
It's fantastic. And like you said, too, there are times where I feel really bad because people do reach out to me and send me messages. But I just want people that are fans of the docuseries and fans of you that listen to your podcast that worry about me and my family and want to know how we're doing, that if you ever do reach out to me and I'm a little standoffish, it's because we're terrified. I don't know who I'm talking to. I don't know if they're a mole that has jumped onto my social media to figure out more stuff about what I'm doing, or do you know what I mean? It's just it's really sad for me that I'm at that point, because me, I'm the most open, friendly person in the world, and if you come and chat to me about my research...
and that's one of my biggest reasons I was excited too, is I know, I've said this before many times, that you, in my opinion, and I've met them all, I believe, you're the single best ghost hunter that I've ever come across, and you're so incredibly thorough. You, man, if anybody out there listening to this, if you ever sit down with Craig Powell and start talking ghosts and ghosts, you will be floored by the knowledge this man has. And I'm somebody who thought I was pretty, it sounds egotistical, but I thought I was pretty goddamn good in that world. But you're an incredible investigator and much better than me. And I so wish you were here right now, because I know you have so much knowledge, and I know you love sharing it with people. And I know there's so much more to the. I mean, as much as is in the documentaries, as well as I do, that's the cliff notes of the cliff notes. I mean, there's only so much you can put in even a 3-film docuseries, right? I mean, this was years of your life. And before this, there was a whole decade of research that came before, so
exactly.
This would be such an amazing time to have you over here and to have you, being able to communicate with the people. And
I'm really upset that, I can't do, I feel like I can't do my podcasts and my vlogs and events and all that type of stuff just because, through fear of getting my family into any more trouble or having them more scared than they do get, with all the stuff that's been going on. One thing I did want to talk to you about as well.
Okay.
So, sorry, one thing I did want to mention as well, because you mentioned Cockatoo Island earlier, and how when you held the event out there shortly after, it was all cut off, right? They stopped us from going out there. They stopped us from investigating, doing events, all that sort of stuff. I just wanted you to know that this week, it was late last week, I was contacted by an old friend of mine that I used to work with on the bridge for bridge climb on the Sydney Harbour Bridge when I used to work on there. And he was a tour guide as well. And he was one of the best tour guides I've ever met. He used to work on the bridge. He used to do the ghost tours around the rocks area down below. And he contacted me because he got himself a job on Cockatoo Island running ghost tours.
You're kidding me.
He wanted to pick my brain, different areas, and which house was SIR caught in, and where do people hear Minnie sing, and all of this type of stuff. So I was talking him through it, and he mentioned that the weekend before he got to follow one of the tour guides around with a tour group.
Yeah,
got to see how they do it, and he said to me, Craig, it's really strange, but they didn't mention SIR NOFACE once. They didn't mention he was captured in there. They didn't mention the lights that you said happened in there. They never mentioned Minnie or the singing that you heard or anything else. And I said, well, John, I'm not surprised, mate. They don't like talking about that. So he went and got some of my stories, and he included it in a tour that he did. And he got pulled up pretty quickly by staff because they're not to talk about that. So...
Wow.
How much more evidence do we need with his testimony to me that, there's a cover-up now on Cockatoo Island for sure. Some of the best documented paranormal investigations that have ever occurred.
That they brought you out to do. That they chose you to come out and capture. What the fuck?
Exactly right. And SIR NOFACE was only one small part of the story. I mean, more that what happened down on that island. He was only one small part of the story. So there was much, much more. There's 2 years worth that they don't mention. No one mentions it. They don't say anything
we're going to get
it.
into that. We're going to get into that into Paleface when we do that as well. And that's fascinating stuff. That's what this whole that pisses me off. Oh my God.
Crazy, huh?
So they pulled him out and shut him down on it. Well, I will never forget the day, for those of you listening right now, when we went back out there to film SIR NOFACE. Craig was telling me, listen, we're going to have to hide the cameras and just act like we're showing up to just check out the island and go for a walk. And, we did the best we could hiding stuff. Justin's the world's worst at hiding shit and acting. Justin just does not know how to. He just doesn't have street smarts, man. But what blew me away, is the second you hit that entryway, you were swarmed by security guards.
Yeah.
That wanted to know, what the fuck are you doing here? Right. And right away, they were like, you're not allowed to film anything. Now, everybody listening, understand, this is going to be kind of in paleface too, because we have the footage of this. Understand that this is a public park, okay, where they have these immaculate, like, outdoor camping areas that are there 24/7, tents, sitting areas, these awesome brick like fire areas. Like, this is a park. Yeah. Like, you're invited out there to hang with your family. You can fly kites out there. You can, like, there's restaurants and there's like a little restaurant there and a little soda thing, and you could, like, this is a place where you film. Like, this is where people would film nonstop. And they surrounded Craig. They wanted to know who we all were. And, I was just cooking it up the side. And I was trying to get Justin. It's just like, dude, just please fucking, just get through here and get to a place. Because he had the black bag and the camera in it. And they were asking Craig, what are you doing? Craig was saying, look, I'm just bringing some friends out here. And it was like they didn't want him to leave, and they were surrounding him. And then finally, Craig's like, "Well, listen, we're going to go for a walk." And we probably got 100 yards away, and they're in multiple golf carts, and they're flying up to Craig like in a golf cart, basically again telling him you can't film anything. And I ran off and I'm hiding where I could see where they're at, and I got Justin by me hidden. And then Craig and Laura's there too, and Nick's there, and you guys just said, "Yeah, no, it's no problem. It's no problem. We're gonna go for a walk. It's not a problem." And they're like, "Okay." Yeah. So then you beeline down to me, and we're sitting behind the building where they couldn't see us directly, and we start doing the interview. That's in the film. That interview when you guys watched SIR NOFACE, and Craig's talking to me about what occurred out there, and that's when you see the helicopter go above us and all that stuff. As that's going on, these guys, again, are buzzing the whole island. I could see 2 golf carts up top by SIR's place. They're literally sitting up there so no one could get into SIR's place. And then another golf cart comes down, and they bring Nikki a document. Then they're like, "You got to sign this." And, Nikki's like, "What is it?" And they're like, "This is, a document stating that not only, can you not film anything, if you do film anything, we're confiscating it. Like, we're taking the camera, the footage, everything." And thankfully, Nikki signed it because she was not the production company. We were.
Exactly.
So,
right. Yeah, she wasn't filming anything.
Right. So she, nor you, was filming. I was filming. It's my production company. So, we filmed, and the second we got done filming, we went back to the road, and they were there again. They were circling us on golf carts the whole time, and then, we just got back and waited for, the ferry back to that. But the thing was, when I say they immediately surrounded Craig, they picked him up, off the boat coming in. And the word had clearly made its way around, that's Craig Powell coming out here. And, he wasn't 10 steps off the boat before they surrounded him. And it was just wild to me. I was like, what is going on out here?
And wasn't that a stark contrast to the time you went out to hold the event out there? Like, how much filming did we do that time?
Oh, nonstop. And in retrospect, this is what I honestly think was going on. I think they were, happy to let you do whatever you were doing, because at this point, I do lean towards the fact that you think you're documenting SIR NOFACE as I think they're documenting you and your team and what's going on. Because, you got clearance for the event, and then we did the event, and if you remember, that event sold out really, really fast. I mean, it was just like, bang, and it was sold out. And I think they did some research after the fact. And I think they found out who I was, and the fact that I had the ability to get the word out what was going on. And specifically, I think there was something that happened really weird, and it happened right after you showed your footage. Do you remember? It's the only time this has ever happened at an event of mine, ever, in 300 some events. Right after you were done showing the footage and saying this was, the government called us, they brought us in to do this, then you showed the footage of NOFACE. I freaked out after I saw it, went and started talking to you. And do you remember that couple that was there the whole time was upset with me, and they were saying, when are we shutting this stuff off? We're supposed to be going on a ghost hunt.
Yeah.
And they wanted their money back. You remember that? And I go, what are you talking about? And they're like, all this footage of, your ghost hunts and all this stuff. This stuff was never even advertised. And what's hilarious is the point of the event is that we were showing a blood red sky up there. And the ghost hunt was the aftermath. That was like, for VIPs. Yeah. So the full advertisement and the whole tour, was, see a blood red sky in Australia. And this guy started telling me that he was like, well, I've seen the advertisement. Nowhere does it talk about showing footage and all this stuff. And I just think it's time to shut this all down. And if we'd be going on our ghost hunt. And I said, well, the sun's out. I mean, like, what do you mean? Like, it's not even dark yet. I go, I don't. And he's like, well, I don't care. This is not what we signed up for. And they were there that whole time, dude. And they were fine. And the second you showed your stuff, they got super, pissed. And then I finally just said to him, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you could stick around and go on the ghost hunt with us if you want, but, yeah, this is a screening event. This is fully advertised that way. And the second I told them pretty much, that's not the case, and we're not going to go ghost hunting until it's nighttime, once we were done with our presentations, they bounced. And I don't know if they were connected to the place or not, but I got the feeling they were. And because once we left, you're right, it was a stark contrast, because before, when we got there, it was like, oh yeah, do whatever you want. Make yourself at home. Where do you want to go? Yeah. Sure. You can go anywhere. Yeah. You can do anything. And then you come in, bring me out, show me the footage. We start talking right there about the potential of at least doing another event, if not doing something with the footage. And then, I also was posting footage nonstop when I was out there to my social media, and then the next day they shut it down. I don't think they took the time to even look as to who I was or what was going on, or the fact that at the time I had, American Ghost Hunter had done very well in its release, and that was my newest film. And I think someone woke up and said, do you know Craig Powell's out there with a filmmaker right now that makes paranormal documentaries? Because that certainly wouldn't bode well with what they were doing. So it was just incredibly weird to me that it was shut down that quick. And just the fact that they would want to, that blows my mind, that they hired a guy but they want him to not talk about it. What did your friend that is the tour guide there, what did he say about SIR NOFACE's place? Does anybody ever go there, or what's the deal?
I still don't think people go inside there, Chad. I'll have to get in contact with him again and get more details about what's going on out there at the moment. But it's as far as I know, it's still off limits.
Wow. Well, Craig, I know people want to reach out to you. I know people really want to talk to you and ask you questions. I know you enjoy sharing information. If I just made a simple Gmail account and, whatever, a simple name for a Gmail account and have people send you messages there, would that be an easy way for you to log into that account, and then that way you could just use that account for that? If I did that, would that be cool?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, that's no issue. That's no issue at all. I'll be more than happy to jump on there when I can and do that. Otherwise, people, I still have my my Facebook, my Craig Powell Paranormal Investigator account. That still appears to be okay. And
you can check that on your phone, right?
I can check that on my phone. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and say it again. So, go ahead and say it again for everybody. What is it?
It's just under Craig Powell Paranormal Investigator. And that's on Facebook. So that's probably the only place you can really get me at the moment. Because, like I said before, I can't access my YouTube. I have no. They've taken down my emails and they've taken down my website. So
Wow.
my personal Facebook account. Where I used to post all my paranormal stuff as well. That's gone, but I still have a public page on there for whatever reason. That's still functioning, and I still have control of that. So, yeah, you can people can jump on there and check out what I'm doing from time to time. And feel free to send a message or whatever.
Okay, everybody, I will make sure that I'll put the link in the description box below as well. And you're not doing your podcast anymore, right? So that's off.
No, not at the moment. No, not at the moment. It's something that I desperately want to start doing again. But like I said, it's a bit hard without a computer, and I don't have a computer for a reason, everyone. So, just people thinking I've just vanished off the face of the earth. I haven't. I'm still here. I'm still doing stuff, but I'm living in the shadows a little bit.
No, I get it, man. I totally get it. Well, listen, man, you're fighting the good fight, man. Just keep battling away, and we're going to figure out how to get you here real soon. Keep it up, dude. I'll give you a buzz tomorrow. I'll give Nick and the boys my best. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to everybody. I know everybody wants to hear
always,
from you.
Brother. Always. Yeah,
Awesome,
much love,
man.
Much love to you. Much love to Laura, everyone over there. And just above anything else other than doing a podcast, it's just been good to catch up with you.
Yeah, man. Always good to hear your voice, dude. Always good to hear your voice, man. And every time we hang, we have the fucking best time, dude. So we're gonna have to figure all this out in the future coming up. And in the meantime, I know you'll be safe. I know you'll keep your family safe. Let me know anything that goes down, and we'll just keep talking, man. I'll hit you back up, okay?
Will do, brother.
And to everybody else listening, look, thank you guys so much for asking me to get Craig on the podcast. Obviously, I love having him on. Having said that, I hope you all enjoyed this episode of the In a Crowded Room podcast, and I will be back tomorrow with more. All the best.